Hi, everyone. My name's Tanner Murtagh, and for about 3.5 years, I had debilitating, widespread chronic pain. Now, in this video, I'm going to share what I went through when I had chronic pain, how bad it got, and eventually how I was able to heal using brain retraining and nervous system regulation. Now, since healing my chronic pain, I've been on a mission for the last 5 years to support people in healing chronic pain and chronic symptoms using a brain and nervous system approach. In my digital course and in my therapy practice, we have helped hundreds of people heal their chronic pain, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and other unexplained chronic symptoms. Chronic pain and symptoms rarely start overnight. They develop over a lifetime. Now, for myself, years before I had chronic pain, my nervous system was in this heightened state of danger all the time. Here's what increased my danger level long before I had pain. I was a sensitive kid, and I felt everything deeply. I was bullied in school, which left me carrying trauma. I developed anxious and depressive symptoms in my teenage years. To cope with my dysregulation, I developed an addiction issue and an eating disorder. And by university, my perfectionism had taken me over, and I was living in a constant state of pressure and intensity. Now, I'll share how my chronic pain developed and what I went through. In my early 20s, my nervous system had become so dysregulated that it finally had enough. Now, while I was training for my first triathlon, I began to develop knee pain. And when the knee pain came on, I just assumed, I injured something because I was running all the time. So I did the normal thing that we are taught to do when we have pain. I rested it, I iced it, I went to physio, I went to chiropractors, and eventually I started to take pain medication to cope. But instead of my pain getting better, it actually just escalated over 3.5 years. So all of a sudden, I had pain in both knees, and then pain in both shoulders and arms all the way to my fingertips. And my most debilitating symptoms was I had back pain from my lower back all the way up to my upper back, and my hips and legs were incredibly sore and tense. And I felt really lost because as my pain worsened, the medical system wasn't helping. I went to see so many specialists, get scans and tests done, and nothing major was explaining why I had debilitating chronic pain. And even my doctors gave this message of hopelessness to me, which was incredibly emotional. I was told I probably have fibromyalgia. I was told I have hypersensitive nerves, and I was going to be in pain forever. And at this point, I became bedbound. I was barely moving. I was barely able to walk or get around. And my nervous system was incredibly dysregulated. I was alternating between being in high fight or flight or completely frozen and shut down. Now, I also developed a trauma response to my actual chronic pain symptoms. This is often not talked about. And in my agencies, we use the concept sensitization trauma. Sensitization trauma is the trauma that occurs from the onset or progression of chronic pain and chronic symptoms. And this makes a lot of sense because when your chronic pain and symptoms are really intense, they're debilitating, they take meaning and purpose away from you, it makes a lot of sense that we have a trauma response. And so that's what started to take place with me. I was just completely shut down and traumatized. Now, in my excessive research and trying to find an answer, I came across the work of Dr. John Sarno and Dr. Howard Schubiner. I started to at first read their books, and they talked about how a lot of chronic pain and symptoms are not due to damage or disease in the body. And this was fascinating to me because I had never considered that. I just always assumed my body was permanently broken and I was always going to have pain because that's what I've been told by my medical team. But the term we use now is what we call neuroplastic pain and symptoms. So with neuroplastic pain and symptoms, there's no damage or disease in your body that is triggering the sensations. They're occurring because the brain and nervous system has been stuck in this heightened state of danger and survival. Now, at first, when I learned about this concept of neuroplastic symptoms, I was resistant. I was angry. I thought they were saying my pain was fake. I felt, people didn't believe I was in pain. And so it took me a few months to fully buy in that, oh, my symptoms probably are neuroplastic. Now, as I started to become more open to my pain and symptoms being neuroplastic, I started to use a brain and nervous system approach to heal my chronic pain. I want to be clear though, healing was not a quick fix. I had to consistently retrain my brain and teach my nervous system safety to eventually fully heal. Now, to heal, I focused on 5 desensitization factors. These are the same 5 factors I use with clients in my digital course and in my therapy practice. If you're interested in my services, I'll put the links for both in the description of this video. Now, by using these 5 desensitization factors, I was eventually able to fully heal. So let's go through these. Number 1, changing thoughts and beliefs. Healing starts by reframing what your pain and symptoms mean. So I needed to start to think about my pain differently. I came to understand that my body was not damaged or diseased. My symptoms were neuroplastic, meaning that danger and dysregulation in my nervous system was triggering and worsening my pain over time. This is a fundamental thing to understand because I started to understand that my body wasn't permanently damaged. My body was actually safe. It's just my brain wasn't getting the message. And so I started to self-assess and look for signs that my symptoms are neuroplastic. I started to notice, when I get anxious, my symptoms increase. My symptoms are inconsistent, move and spread. There's multiple symptoms taking place. All of these are criteria for neuroplastic symptoms. Now, if you're early on in this journey and you want to go through these criteria, start to look for signs that your symptoms are neuroplastic, I will put a blog post down below that walks you through all the criteria. And by doing this, you can start to buy in slowly that your symptoms are neuroplastic. I want to be clear though, it's really rare I work with someone where they 100% believe their symptoms are neuroplastic right away. Even for myself, it took time to build that belief, but this is essential because it's going to teach your brain that your body is actually safe. Number 2, brain retraining and graded exposure. When I had debilitating chronic symptoms, I responded to my pain with high panic or incredible despair, shutdown, numbness. Now, this response was triggering and worsening my symptoms over time. And so I learned I don't actually need to change my pain. I needed to change how I'm responding. So I started to use brain retraining, where I somatically would start to attend to my pain in my body, explore it in detail, get used to sitting with it instead of running away or distracting myself. And as I did that, I would use safety signals such as breath work, tapping, or safe self-talk to create safety with the sensations. This somatic work with pain was essential because over time, I became less fearful of my pain. I became less in despair about it. And I changed my nervous system's response that I was having. By doing this, over time, pain sensations started to come down for me. Now, the second thing I did is graded exposure because out of fear, I had avoided everything. I was bedbound, so I was barely moving my arms. I was scared to go like this. Definitely scared to raise them way above my head. I was scared to walk, go to the gym, really anything. And so with graded exposure, I needed to slowly expose myself to walking again. For months, I would slowly increase my walking. Day by day, it started at about 3 to 5 minutes. And over several months, I was able to walk an hour again. And my pain level started to come down, even though my activity level went up. We need to do the graded exposure to heal, because this is how you show your brain, oh, the body's safe, the body's capable, I'm able to live life. I also want to say this is one of the most rewarding parts of the healing work, because this is how you get your life back and you start to live fully and exactly how you want. Number 3, nervous system regulation. When I had pain, my nervous system was so dysregulated that I knew that I needed to work towards more regulation, because that was going to be essential for me ultimately healing my pain. Nervous system regulation means that you start to make your nervous system flexible. So you could go into fight or flight, like an anxious or angry state. And with nervous system regulation, you can come back out to a safe, calm, regulated state. Nervous system regulation does not mean you are always calm all the time. That's not possible. But we want more of that safe, calm, regulated energy. And we want to give your nervous system the ability to be flexible. For myself, my nervous system was dysregulated, meaning it was really rigid. So I would get caught in fight or flight for weeks, or I would get caught in this freeze shutdown zone for weeks. Now, with nervous system regulation, I used a lot of safety signal practices. So I did breath work, qigong, visualization, safe self-talk. I would do this almost every morning while I was healing. But nervous system regulation work also means learning to attend to the dysregulated sensations or difficult emotions. I had to learn to attend to anxiety or anger, or when I was frozen and sad and shut down. It's exposure work. So I changed my relationship with these dysregulated states, and I was able to be with them in my body. And by doing that, it made the pain and symptom system in my brain less sensitized over time. This is what the research shows. If you can learn to attend to emotions, dysregulation, feel safe with them, and move through them, it will lower pain and symptom sensitivity in the brain. And by doing this, you are making a big step forward in your healing. This was a huge part of my healing and really a big part of why I was able to ultimately recover. Number 4, processing trauma. I was not able to fully heal until I started to process trauma. This is one of the hardest parts of the work. I get why people avoid it, but it's really essential. When we experience trauma, what that means is following an overwhelming event or situation, your nervous system gets locked in fight, flight, fawn, freeze, or shutdown. That's what trauma is. It's the response in the nervous system following an overwhelming event. For myself, I experienced overwhelming bullying as a child. Also, my pain and symptoms were traumatic. Sensitization trauma, as we talked about. So what I did is I started to recall in short bursts the images or memories from these overwhelming events in the past. And then my nervous system would become dysregulated. It would trigger all that dysregulation and difficult emotions, and I would learn to work with the sensations, regulate, and create safety. Trauma is not a quick process when you're working with it. I needed to do this repetitively over many months, but in doing so, I had more easy access to a safe, calm, regulated state, and my pain levels came down even further. Number 5, building social safety. This is a really challenging thing to do. So far, what I've covered, these 4 desensitization factors, are about doing internal work to create more safety and regulation. But we need to learn to live in a certain way and have factors in our life that cultivate a deep, lasting feeling of safety. This is what building social safety is about. For myself, I was perfectionistic, high-achieving, people-pleasing, controlling. I had friends in my life that were toxic. I wasn't happy where my career was at. These were all things that I needed to work at changing consistently. But if you can build a life that naturally cultivates this deep feeling of safety, your brain no longer needs to try to protect you by producing pain or physical symptoms. By using these 5 desensitization factors, over the course of about 8 or 9 months, I was able to fully heal my chronic pain. I no longer had chronic symptoms by the end. So this didn't occur overnight. It took consistent work and patience. But I want you all to know that healing is possible. So consider, of these 5 desensitization factors, what are some strategies and practices you could start to utilize to further your healing from chronic pain or chronic symptoms? If you need extra support in your healing, my digital course, The Somatic Safety Method, has a ton of educational videos, over 60 somatic practices, brain retraining practices, and over 30 interactive worksheets. So if you need that extra support, I'll put the link down below and you can go sign up there. My digital course is available worldwide. Now, my second agency is my therapy practice, Pain Psychotherapy Canada. We are Canadian based, and because of regulations, we can only work with people who are located in certain provinces in Canada. But if you want to work one-on-one with a therapist and you're in Canada, I'll put the link down below and you can check us out. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.